Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Turn 79 of A Worthy Opponent, a podcast based on the game Hearthstone by Blizzard. I am Black Lace, and with me in the studio is not Micmac.
Fine and dandy like sour candy.
And
What,
Autumn's...
Black Lace? What you talking about? I got that pop culture reference.
You sure don't sound like yourself, Micmac. You sound like a
stubbed
Muppet.
my toe.
I see.
Yeah.
Also with us is Autumn's Bane.
Mimron likes to take the Flame Leviathan out on some sweet joyrides.
Flame Leviathan.
There you go. Why did I pick that one?
Because Micmac wasn't here and it was easy for me to say?
No, I got this legend
because you
today.
got that legendary and you were ready to dust it.
While you get things like Dr. Boom, I get things like Flame Leviathan. Crappy card.
Alright, Flame Leviathan.
7/7/7. Mage only. When you draw this, deal 2 damage to all characters. That's crazy talk.
That's a card I would never use.
Because you never know when you're going to draw it. It's not when you play it, it's when you draw it.
I hear ya.
I guess if you're playing a creatureless deck, I don't know. I'm still trying to decide whether to dust it or not.
I don't know.
I want to know why Elmo is in the on our podcast tonight.
Elmo?
I just couldn't come up with any other voices that's even close to his, so I just figured I'd just throw it on a high-pitched one.
I guess Micmac sounds a little like Elmo.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Poor Micmac. Micmac is on vacation, so I should not even
little
say
XT.
poor Micmac. Yeah, we have lost our marriage counselor for the evening. So with us is the crazy Xander,
The Annoyatron.
the Annoyatron.
Hey, Annoyatron 2000. Beep, beep.
He's the man behind the curtain that I always thank every week.
Holy crap, I got a curtain?
Yes, you do, because we
Get behind your curtain, you.
Yes, please go
Good thing
back
I'm wearing
behind your
pants.
curtain.
Whew, that was a close call.
So I have a shout
Good thing
out.
we're not filming this.
I have a shout out to Cold Run, who I ran across in a game this week, and we chatted for a little while, and I just wanted to say hi to him during the podcast. So hi, Cold Run. And we have news tonight.
Big news.
Big news. We have Hearthstone Blizzard Heroes of the Storm news. Like, it hits all fronts.
Do I
Do you wanna
talk about
talk
it
about
or should I?
Go for it.
Okay, so this is information that has been data mined. So Blizzard hasn't denied any of this, but I haven't seen an official confirmation. But all this information can be found. Actually, Blizzard Watch put an article up a week ago. They copied some things from MMO Champion, who is big on data mining stuff. And it involves all of the Blizzard games except for Diablo and StarCraft and Overwatch. Okay, so not all of them, 3 of them. That's still a lot. Do you remember a time when we could have said 5 Blizzard games? That's just crazy. Anyway, the one that concerns us most is this beautiful card. I'm going to get rid of my Maraude when this comes out.
Yeah, my cupcake might go bye-bye.
It's called Heroes of the Storm, and it's a card back, and it's a reward for reaching level 12 in Heroes of the Storm. Now, it's releasing soon, so if you're not in beta and you can't get a beta key because they've been floating around like crazy, everyone should be able to get them.
Open beta is coming.
So, no, I think full release is coming in June.
No, open beta first, in May.
Okay. So in any
I'll find
event,
the information while you read.
It's gorgeous. It's silver and purple and blue, and just for getting to rank 12, which is not too much of a chore to do, you get this beautiful card. But wait, there's more.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to interrupt you before there's more. Hold that thought. Just to go with what we were saying, Heroes of the Storm will officially launch on June 2nd, following an open beta testing period that begins May 19th.
And
So
this game's pretty polished, so
yeah, so
I don't.
you can
The
get this
beta's a
card.
formality.
Yep, you can get this card back. So it is everybody has the ability to get it. So keep going, Autumn's Bane.
Well, if you go past 12 and go all the way to 20, I'm at 17 and a half, so I'm going to play some Heroes of the Storm this week. You get a Warcraft vanity pet called Graves, and looks like he's well past
He's
Graves'
kinda
disease.
Yeah, he's really kind of cute in a very sick, twisted, demented way.
Yes, but that's not Hearthstone. The next thing, however, also relates to Hearthstone. If you have obtained 100 matches of win in Hearthstone, so in play mode or arena, I guess, 100 matches that you've won, you will get this mount in Heroes of the Storm. It's not in Hearthstone, of course, but it's the Hearthstone legendary card back, and it's like a flying carpet mount, and it's really cute. And so you have to play Hearthstone to get this in Heroes of the Storm. So they're really opening up this promo to touch different games. And last but not least, which doesn't touch on Hearthstone at all, but we might as well throw it in, is the Iron Wolf mount, which can be obtained by reaching level 100 in Warlords of Draenor or World of Warcraft. And that will be another mount inside the Heroes of the Storm game. So a bunch of free stuff for just, like,
Yeah.
remember the Heartsteed?
Yeah,
This is like the
yeah.
Heartsteed on steroids.
I gotta say, a lot of people complain that, you have to go to the store and buy some of the stuff from Blizzard, different pets, different cards, not cards, but, the pets, the mounts, or the cards, actually, card packs. But Blizzard does give presents. Nobody obligates them to do it. They just do it. And it's just awesome.
It's also
I think they're
marketing
great.
genius to give away games for trying their other games. And everything they're asking you to do, with the exception of getting to a level 100 in Warlords of Draenor, is free. You don't have to pay to get to ranks 12 or 20 in Heroes of the Storm. You don't have to pay to get to 100 wins in Hearthstone. Only the Warcraft one is the one you charge for.
You're just
But
paying in time.
starting with this Blizzard UI, the interface that we have where you could click a button to get into any game and see the news, and now this, I'm really loving the way they put everything together. And I guess they do it so well that I'm finding myself not playing any games other than Blizzard games. It's like one-stop shopping.
Yep, except tapped out on our little iPads.
Yeah, still can't wait for Overwatch to join the crew, but
Oh yes.
this is all good stuff. And so this was Hearthstone related, even though it touched on other things. So that's why
Yep.
we wanted to talk about it.
Yep. Other news is we had some people who had issues with their Androids because they were getting only a tablet UI showing up when they played. This has been corrected, supposedly, and anybody who has been having this issue that's contacted me in the past, let me know that it has really been corrected. But Blizzard says that Android resolved issues causing some phones to display the tablet UI. So everything should be playing normally now. Also, tablet versions should be able to purchase multi-packs at a time with gold. Haven't seen it. Not sure if that applies to my Android. Maybe I just need to save a lot of gold again and try it one more time, but I didn't see the ability to get multiple packs.
I
Did
bought
you?
2 packs with gold today from my winnings, and I did not see a feature. It didn't ask me how many I wanted to get when I clicked the gold button, so I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Yep, agreed. Let's see, what else do we have? We are going to do we haven't been able to address a lot of people who have sent us emails in the past couple of weeks because we had spent a lot of time going through the wings.
Wasn't
they
there
took
another
up-
news piece first?
Oh, the big news. Well, yes, I'll finish this sentence and then we'll do that big news. Yes. We are going to address emails this week because we had been doing wings and then we had our tournament and that took up so much time we weren't able to address them. So today's going to be email day after this big Blizzard blow up. So, Autumn's Bane, have at.
Okay. By the way, somebody in the chat room is saying that their 6-inch phone is still displaying. I don't think all of these things that are mentioned in the patch notes have actually gone live. I don't know if they've actually fixed the display yet, and I don't know if they've... well, I saw no evidence that they fixed the gold thing yet, so maybe these are things that are coming soon.
It could be with a patch, because they've got big patches rolling around.
As for the news,
Big
you
news.
remember that people were banned from Hearthstone for botting. Well, they have now gone to their cash cow, World of Warcraft, and done the same thing.
Can
Oddly,
you say?
in a month that they announced that they've lost 3 million subscribers, they banned 100,000
100,000
players.
people. Yes.
A 6-month ban
100,000.
for using bots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. They said, we've recently taken action against a large number of World of Warcraft accounts that were found to be using third-party programs that automate gameplay, known as bots. We're committed to providing an equal and fair playing field for everyone in World of Warcraft, and will continue to take action against those found in violation of our terms of use. Cheating of any form will not be tolerated. Now, that's what Activision Blizzard said. That's their exact quote, their press release, I guess. They've done it with Hearthstone. They've done it with Warcraft. So, people, you play a Blizzard game, don't cheat. End of story.
Yeah. So what was happening is they were, and I'm going to quote boingboing.net. I love the name Boing Boing. They were all running mods that let them automate away the tedious grinding that is so integral to the way that MMOs incentivize players to devote thousands of hours to their products. According to World of Warcraft mod, more than 100,000 players received a 6-month ban for using the bots. Blizzard, the company that owns Warcraft, instills, now listen folks, this is what they're doing, this is how they found out. They instill a spyware program called Warden within their games, which searches players' computers for banned software and reports it to the company. The terms of service actually require players to grant the company permission to examine, copy, and transmit all files on your computers. So Blizzard has used the courts to defend the legality of the software and the enforceability of it in the terms, successfully suing a rival software vendor for making an automation add-on and arguing that the company had violated its terms of service. So yeah, there's something right in the programs that they use that go through your computers and let them know if there's something going on in there. So that's interesting. But we do sign that, or not sign it. We click the box and say I accept.
Yeah, the pages and pages that most people never read. I've tried to read it. It's just too long.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn over to emails. The first one from, I'm going to just call him Scott because he didn't give me any kind of pseudonym. In the latest episode, you discussed how Ragnaros says "Daddy" when played against Nefarian, and the music played. Your guest mentioned how if you manage to attack with Doomsayer, they say, "Did I miss something?" This reminded me of a situation where I managed to keep the 2/1 defender that is summoned by the Paladin's secret alive. This happened when my opponent attacked with a 1/1 creature and the 2/1 defender was summoned. The knife juggler that I had on board threw a knife and killed the attacker, preserving the normally doomed defender. Much to my enjoyment, the subsequent turn I attacked with the defender, he exclaimed, "Ha! I live!" in a way that sounded way too surprised. Have any of you guys witnessed or heard tell of similar stories? I'd be interested to hear about more of this unique dialogue that is total reflection of Blizzard's attention to detail. Now, first of all, you understand how that stayed alive, right? That made sense how he said it? Everybody on board with that?
Yeah, you expect them to answer you?
Yeah, the invisible people.
Okay.
Everybody. Okay. The only thing I can think of is we've mentioned this before if you're playing Malfurion and your opponent tosses Illidan out. He says,
"Hello, brother."
Yeah. So, and
I love
Illidan
that.
and
The
Malfurion.
first time I heard that, I just died laughing. That was when I used to play at my desktop, and I could have the volume on. But since the majority of my play gets done on a tablet,
Yeah, during
uh,
work.
well, not always during work, but at least at work, I'm forced to play with the sound down so I don't disturb the people around me. So I miss a lot of these really good sound effects. But that one, to this day, it just cracks me up. That attention to detail.
Yep. And if you all have heard other instances, please let us know because I just think that's so cool. I love the little things that Blizzard does. Next email is from Dusty. And this is what I'm going to term the play of the week. And I had mentioned to folks, if you have done plays of the week, send them in. We'll read them. This one was a lot of fun. So I'm trying to climb the ladder, and it is going well, thanks to a lot of good advice from you all. Still, every once in a while, you just need the RNG gods to work in your favor. The situation: playing mage. I have 9 life. He has 13 and a clear lethal if he gets another turn. I have a 4/4 Azure Drake and 10 mana, and he has 6 minions on the board. My top deck draw is Ragnaros. I do the math and realize I have a chance. Hero power to the face. He has 12 life. Azure Drake to the face. He has 8 life. Drop Ragnaros. Hit well played, and end the turn realizing that I have a 1 in 7 chance to pull this out. Ragnaros hits face. It's the first time playing Hearthstone that I have literally jumped out of my chair and yelled. Thanks, keep up the good work, Dusty. That is so cool. I've had that happen too. Ragnaros, you're sitting there and he's like your only hope. I actually had this happen today. I was playing against a warlock and he had 3 or 4 creatures on board across from me, and I was like, the only way I can possibly win right now is if Ragnaros goes over everybody's minion's head and slams the guy in the face, and he did. And it really, Dusty's hit it right. I mean, you're ready to jump out of your seat and just yell, and that is nothing to do with skin. That is nothing to do with skill. That is purely RNG.
I beat one of the harder Black Rock Mountain bosses that way. He had like 8 things on the field, and I had Ragnaros, and he had 7 health left, and I don't remember which boss it was, and Ragnaros did me a solid. It was just amazing how that happens sometimes, and I usually have such crap luck anyway, but yeah, sometimes he can really pull through.
Yep. So that was a lot of fun. Awesome play of the week. Thank you very much, Dusty. Now we have a question for the podcast. This is from Hearthstone Noob 001. Hi guys, I know you probably get new player questions every week, but I need some advice. I've been listening to the past few weeks and I've heard you guys give advice as to how to build a collection from gold or how to get better at the game, but I am struggling with how I should approach disenchanting and creating cards. I have ideas for a Blood Knight based Paladin deck that needs about 820 dust to complete, as well as a Face Hunter deck that will take me about 360 dust. I'm sitting around 270 and I have a plethora of cards that I'm willing to ditch, but I'm scared to get rid of them. I have a Millhouse Manastorm that I hate. It's a 2-drop, 4/4. Your opponent's free spells, gives your opponent free spells the following turn, as well as a Gold Silence, a Gold Molten Giant, and a handful of epic cards. I can't see myself using these based on the class, therefore. Should I disenchant those cards to buy the commons and rares I need for the decks I want to build, or should I wait for my collection to slowly accumulate? Similarly, should I save my dust for epics and legendaries, or would it be wise to craft myself those 2 Ironbeak Owls that have been evading me? So I can put them both in the decks I am crafting. Sorry, I have totally lost my voice. Pause now for station identification. Xander will be cutting out a lot of dead air here.
It's okay, love.
What is sorry? What is the best way to go here? Should I ditch cards that I'm thinking I won't use? Is it worth it to hang on to everything and to build my collection over time? I plan on spending very little actual money on the game if I can help it. I'm Spain, what do you think?
Well, I have a few things to say.
Say it
First,
to me.
if you have some decks that you think you want to do, and you have essential cards that you need that are not legendary, it doesn't take a lot of dust to make them. Make them. You know, those, especially if it's common or a rare, it's not a lot of dust. Make them. If you know you're going to use them. Those Iron Beak Owls are essential. Maybe make one of them if you're really being stingy with the dust. But if you really know you're going to use a card in multiple decks over and over, by all means make them, especially if you're not accumulating cards at a high rate. If there is a legendary that you can't make a deck work without, then by all means save for that. Over time, what I tend to do is save for the legendaries, because the odds are I'll get most of the others eventually. But getting a legendary, not so much. There's still legendaries I have never gotten, and if I want them bad enough, I have to go craft them. Today I got a crappy legendary, and yet I won't dust them because of the collector in me. The only legend I ever dusted was a gold Velen, because I knew I was not going to be playing a priest on a regular basis, and a gold legendary dusted gives you enough dust to make a regular legendary. So that was a swap for something I could really use. It may have even been Ragnaros. So there's a lot of ways you can go with the dust. But as for making the decks you want, if you know that there's going to be 2 or 3 decks that you're going to primarily work on, then you could go around dusting all the other cards that don't fit into that deck. That'll get you going in the short haul. But just means that you'll end up collecting those cards later, probably.
I do have a but there.
Go ahead. What's your but?
But. A quote, handful of epic cards I can't see myself using based on the class they are for. I never saw myself playing Warlock. I never saw myself playing Rogue. I loved the Mage. I loved the Hunter, and most especially I love my Shaman. However, when the mechs showed up, I kicked around a mech deck for the Rogue and the Warlock, decks I thought I'd never play, and I fell in love with the class. So just because right now you can't see yourself playing those classes, I wouldn't dust those epic cards, because you really might regret it.
And if you've got 2 of something, then dust one of them. That way at least you have the other one in reserve. But there's you ask 10 people these questions, you might get 10 different answers. It really depends on what you want to do. If you've got your heart set on one specific deck, that you love this class, that 90% of the time you play this class, then it's okay to dust things you're not using. It makes sense. I know of a lot of people who have done that. But then you get these daily quests to go and dabble with other classes, and you may sometimes wish you hadn't shredded those cards. People often regret having shredded stuff. I know somebody who got rid of his Deathwing. Deathwing is one of those cards that is so situational, and it was the only legend he had, and he was new at the game, and by disenchanting that Deathwing, he made a lot of other cards that he could really use. There's nothing wrong with getting rid of that Millhouse Mana Storm. I don't think I've ever used mine.
I agree with that. Millhouse is kind of bleh. Definitely agree with that. Another comment that Bot Dragon in our chat room said, and very well said, legendaries are too fun to play with. Never dust them because you'll most likely have to craft it to get it again. They cost 1,600 dust to craft.
Yeah.
So
If you think there's ever a
yeah,
chance you will want that legendary, don't get rid of it.
don't do it.
Because
But
the
except for
odds are
Millhouse
way
Manastorm.
against you getting it again. But I can't see that you'd ever want to make another Millhouse Manastorm. But that's just our opinion.
Yep. The gold silence. Sure, if you've got 2 regular silences, dust that gold. The gold molten giant. Again, if you're not into the pretty, which is the animations, you're going to get more dust for these gold cards. If you've got 2 molten giants and 2 silences, dust the gold ones. So
Yeah,
you
and
get
a
a lot of
gold
dust
epic
that way.
is worth quite a bit.
Yep, absolutely. So that's our 4 cents. Anything else to say on that, honestly?
No, I did most of the talking while you were choking to
Yeah.
death.
Yes. So, but just to reiterate and to beat a dead horse, yeah, you never know what you're going to like playing. I mean, because as I said, I never thought I was going to like playing the warlock, and I'm just having a great time with it. Because every once in a while you're going to tweak something, or you're going to have to play it to get through one of these little side wings, and you're going to realize, hey, wait, I had fun with that. So be careful with what you dust, because you might actually wind up playing the class. Last but not least is the one we're going to talk about the most. Violet Fire, who has been a fan of ours since pretty much episode 1.
Our first 5-star rating.
Yep. Sent us an email in April, at the end of April, when we were going through the wing, so we couldn't read it. Hello, gang. I just wanted to send a quick email to let you know I'm still breathing and really enjoying your podcast, and let you know, unfortunately, I won't be able to participate in the next tourney. I'll be out of town. Best of luck to you, though. Wanted to take this opportunity to ask a few questions that have been in the back of my mind and would love your feedback on them. You speak about your main decks and whether or not you will change out a card. I have found that the current meta changes so rapidly that whatever deck I am running soon becomes obsolete. I find myself completely changing my deck out every few weeks, so which is time consuming and frustrating. I frequently enjoy certain decks. Do you keep the same deck and just write out the meta, or are you always tinkering with it or changing it out like I find myself doing? I was also hoping that after the Blackrock Mountain has finished, that you could have a discussion on weapons. I have always shied away from the classes with weapons because I feel that ultimately I'm going to do more damage to myself than to my opponent. Could you do a rundown of each of the class's weapons and ask about the strategies or tips for using those weapons? Maybe this could help get me over my phobia. Thanks again for a fun and entertaining podcast. Your number 1 fan, Violet Fire. First, we're going to talk about the decks and the tweaking of the decks. I have very little changes made to my Shaman deck. Over maybe the last 6 months, I pulled out maybe 1 card to put in Dr. Boom. I put out 1 other card to put in my my totem that gives me 4 life. So I've done very, very minor tweaks. So it does change occasionally, but I like the way it works, and it still works very well for me. So occasionally I do little tweaks, but I don't really just dissolve the deck and try it again. What about you, Autumn's Bane?
Well, I'm like you in general, in theory. However, this happened in Nax, and it happened again in Blackrock Mountain. I pretty much had to destroy many of my decks to make them viable to beat the bosses. And since I took a crack at several bosses with more than 1 class, that meant me destroying many decks. In fact, for Nefarian, I think everything got totally destroyed and rebuilt from scratch. But I like to just tweak them normally. But now what I've been doing is taking the decks that I beat the Blackrock Mountain with and trying to tweak those back in order. I actually took a hunter deck off the web just to see how things would be using somebody else's deck for change, because I've always used my hunter decks from scratch. Although I think I did use Frid's Pizza deck for a little bit to try that out. But I'm not like Micmac, who can just take decks apart and make 100 different decks to play test them for people. If I take my deck apart, I don't remember what was in it, and I don't keep records, and I don't make copies. So, and it's not a big deal for me to do it. I just, it takes me a while to get my groove again. But if you have a deck that really works, and I had a decent hunter deck for a while, that every now and then I just, let me try this one, let me try that one, and just tweak it. Because if it's working, you don't need to change it unless you're getting really bored with it and you want to try something different, a little different flair. Some people get bored with their decks and change them all the time. Maybe they change every week to a different deck or even a different class. That's all a matter of personal taste. But I know that Black Lace just tweaks her shaman deck, and I know that Micmac just tweaks his very slightly his control warrior deck. In fact, I think he's done tweaking because he can't figure out what to take out. So I'm currently in the stage of heavy tweaking, but I'm kind of like them for the most part. I find something that I like and I enjoy that has a decent chance of winning, and I just tweak it.
That's true. And decent chance of winning my shaman took me pretty much to rank 15 this month. And I'm stopping. I know it's only halfway through the month, but I'm scared. I'm very happy where I landed.
Yeah,
I don't want to go
that's
backwards.
Decent.
I mean, I know I'm not a top player, never claimed to be. I think I got to 14 was the best I've done. I'm actually afraid of going forward, because if I lose a couple times, I'll start sliding backwards, and I don't want to be at 20 at the end of the month. So this month I got to 15. Next month, if I get to 15, I'm going to keep going. But I just want to stay there this time. I'm excited.
Because losing streaks are more common in this
Yes.
house than winning streaks.
They are. They are. Part 2 of Violet Fire's email is a discussion on the weapons. And do you want to go class by class?
I had something I wanted to say.
Oh, say it.
Okay.
There
Yes,
you
I
are.
know. So let's start with talking about the weapons in general. The purpose of the weapon is to do damage to a hero or a minion above and beyond what your spells, minions, and your hero powers are already doing. That's a nice little thing to do, right? And of the hero classes that use weapons, actually most of them, you've got the hunters have 4 weapons, the paladins have 4, the rogues have 3 plus their hero power, the shamans
Paladins
have
have 4?
3, paladins have 4 weapons,
I'm in
shamans
crafting
have
mode. I only see
3,
3. Okay.
warriors have 5. Did you click the soulbound button? Because some of them are from... There you go. And druids don't actually have a weapon, but they have a hero power that kind of acts like a weapon. Weapon spells don't affect that ability, so we won't really call it that. But taking hero powers aside, that's 19 weapons in the game, and there are a whole bunch of cards that affect weapons as well, and we'll get to them. But let's start with 2 questions. Blacklace, answer me this. What are the advantages to using weapons? Because you don't have to use weapons in a hunter deck or a paladin deck.
The advantage of using a weapon is that you can hold on to it for a little while, and when you have spent all your mana and can't do anything and can't attack, you can pop them one with the weapon. That's one advantage.
Yeah,
you can hold off and just wait for the proper timing. It's not a castable card where I'm going to cast it now and poof, it's done. It sits there unless somebody pops it and,
well, don't get to the disadvantages yet.
Okay. Yes.
First, we're talking advantages.
It could sit there. There are cards that can pump the weapons. And, I mean, some of them have different abilities, too. So, I mean, yeah, just not using them is just as important as using them.
So higher damage, spells and minions that enhance the weapons or give you weapons, and some of them that have synergies. In fact, there are weapons that you don't even want to hit people with because they have other abilities you want to use. But what are the disadvantages? Can you name some?
I can name one big disadvantage.
Go ahead.
Acid Swamp Ooze.
Acidic Swampoos, but also
Acidic,
Harrison
yep.
Jones.
Yeah, they will destroy your weapons. So if you spend a lot of time, now mind you, if you there's nothing that could do the turn you put out the weapon. If you pull out the weapon and you use it, there it's done. But it can be destroyed the next turn. So it's always a risk to use the weapon because it could be literally taken out of your hand.
Yeah, especially, just a little bit of advice based on what I've experienced. If you have a little mana left over at the end of the turn, don't put the weapon on if you've already attacked with a weapon. It's like, oh, that weapon's gone. Let me hook up the next one. Because when I do it, there's at least a 50% chance that that weapon is destroyed before I get to use it even once. So I like to always play the weapon on the turn I'm first going to use it. But that aside, you've
Additionally,
got the acidic... Additionally, what?
you also want to be careful. Aside from the acidic Swampoos, of your own oopses, because if you equip if you're playing a rogue, and say you've equipped something pretty awesome, like I don't know, something that you've Assassin's Blade, and then you maybe pumped it with a deadly poison, which would make it a 5/4, and then at the end of the turn you say, and you've used it, and the end of the turn you say, oh wait, I have mana left, let me pump my weapon, and you use your mana and you destroy your weapon and get a 1/2.
Yeah, you mean your hero power.
Yes, use your hero power. So be careful when you use your hero power. If you're a rogue, before you use your hero power to make a weapon, check what you've got, because you don't want to accidentally destroy it.
Well, the other disadvantages is not just the acidic Swampoos and the Harrison Jones that could destroy your weapon. Priests can steal them, not actually while they're equipped, but from your hand and from your deck and use them against you. That's a little disadvantage. When you hit a minion, you get their attack power towards you as damage, with some exceptions. And of course, there are limited durabilities. Some of those also have ways to mitigate that, so they don't last long. And so they're limited use. So there are some disadvantages to using them, and I think Violet Fire is a little worried that the disadvantages do her more harm than good, that she gets hurt. So when do you use it on a minion, and when do you use it on your hero? And that really depends on the strategy of the deck and the hero class you're playing. There are times you're going to want to hit minions with your weapon. Depending on the weapon, you may only want to hit minions, or as I said, not hit any. But we'll go through all the cards class by class, just like we've done with legendaries and class cards in the past, and give them a rundown. Black Lace, you get your voice yet?
Yeah, I found it in the backpack.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start with the hunter.
Sure.
All right. We've done these cards before, but now we're really focusing on. We've got Glaive Zuka, 2 casting cost, 2/2 card. Basically, that means it hits for 2, and you can use it 2 times before it disappears. But it's got a battle cry, so give a random minion +1 attack. Now, mind you, there are cards out there now that will make your battle cry go off without killing. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Death Rattle, aren't I? You can't. Yeah, I was thinking of the Death Rattle. So forget it. I didn't say that. But anyway, the battle cry gives a minion a +1 attack. So if you're worried about using your weapon, saying that it could really be detrimental to you, no, because even if you screw up somehow using this weapon, you've given another minion +1. So I think this is a decent weapon.
So always make sure you have a minion in play. If you're going to cast the weapon and the minion in the same turn, play that minion first so that they get the +1. And I've been using this a lot lately, actually, in certain decks. So there you go. Weapons that have special abilities are always nicer than those that don't. The next one is Eaglehorn Bow, and it's been around for a while, and it actually got changed just before Nax. This particular card got nerfed on July 21st, 2014. It used to say, whenever a secret is revealed, gain +1 durability. I think all the hunters were using this back then. But then they changed it to whenever a friendly secret is revealed, gain +1 durability. That's a big hit.
That's a big hit, yeah.
And they did that before Nax because of that boss that had all those secrets. And I don't remember which boss it was. But anyway, it's still not a bad weapon, especially if you use secrets. And I think most hunters use at least 1 or 2 secrets in their deck.
Right.
So 3 casting costs, 3 attack, 2 durability. 3 attack is really nice, and you can use it twice. That's 6 potential damage for 3, and maybe more if the secret is revealed.
And again, just remember, when you're hitting that minion with 3 damage, it's going to damage you too.
Right.
So keep in mind that when you're going to hit something, unless you, like, we'll talk about the Paladin card later, it gives health back. You've got to kind of weigh things when you do it. Can I take the damage by killing this minion? Should I go to the face? That kind of thing.
And you have to weigh the value of hitting that minion. Is it a minion that's going to grow? Do you suspect that opponent is about to put a +4/+4 enchant on it and make it much bigger than what's within the range of killing it with the weapon? Do you have the health advantage? Are you sitting at 30 and they're sitting at 20? That might make a difference. And then you say, okay, I could take a little damage. Warriors are king of weapons. They not only have the most weapons, but they could build up armor. And when you've got a ton of armor, you don't worry about whether or not to hit the minion because it just takes off some armor, not real life. So you have to weigh it out and play it the way you think it is. If you're playing like a face hunter, then that Eagle Horn Bow is probably going to go to the face every time. But there are other times you might want to hit the minion. It's like any other card in this game. You have to weigh when to use it and when not to use it. And that's why it blows my mind when on turn 2 I see people play in Acidic Swamp Ooze.
Oh, yeah.
Especially against a warrior, hunter, or paladin.
Right.
I'm like, are you kidding? Out comes Gorehowl later, and you could have used that Acidic Swamp Ooze. But in any event.
Yeah, I love when I'm playing my rogue and the turn 2 somebody plays Acidic Swamp Ooze. I just sit there and laugh because I know what my rogue can do with a weapon. So yeah, keep in mind what you're doing when you're playing cards against weapons as well as when you're playing the weapon. The last card for the hunter is a 7 casting cost Gladiator's Longbow. It is an epic. It's deals 5 damage and it's got only 2 uses, but your hero is immune while attacking.
Oh, I
You
said
use this?
hunters have 4. Hunters only have 3.
You probably have a gold one.
I have 2 goldens, and I counted
There you
wrong.
go. So, do you use this? I don't.
I
have
used to,
2 of them, but
it's potentially useful in certain circumstances. Your hero is immune while attacking, so therefore this is one of those weapons that you only want to attack minions with. Somebody's got
because
like
you won't take damage.
a 7/5 out there, boom, he's dead, and you didn't take a single point of damage from it. I mean, you can only use it
Dungeon
twice.
Shield Master.
But
Get rid of that taunt.
even to the face, if you get this card in late game because it costs so much, 10 points is a lot of points of damage. So you go to the face with this twice, that's 10, or you take out 2 minions or 1 and 1. You know, you play it and see how it goes. I used to play this card at the very beginning of the game when I didn't have a lot of cards because I had this one very early. It may have been like in my initial purchase I actually got this. So of course I was using it. I didn't have many things better. But I haven't seen it much on the ladder. It's probably a good pick in Arena, but you know, I don't see it much anymore. I can't remember the last time I saw one used against me.
Hmm. So that wraps up the hunters. Paladins are next. You want to do the first one?
Yeah, so here's a weapon, Light's Justice. It only does 1, but it lasts for 4 attacks, and it only costs 1. So if you want to play a fast-paced Paladin deck where you want to get a weapon out real quick, if you are brand new to the game and you don't have a lot of weapons, this one is a soulbound card. It's free. So is True Silver Champion for that matter. But you know, there are places for this card. Popping out, you know, beating up weenies. For one attack, I don't think I would waste it on the hero. I think I would only use it, to beat on Murlocs or something.
I wouldn't use it.
No, I'm talking about when and how and why to use it.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily saying I would use it.
Now, I'm just saying, I don't think it's a good. I think there are better cards out there. I would use a different card than this because you're going to be hurting yourself when you use it. Chances are your opponent's creatures are going to be more than one life. So yeah, it would sit there a long
Well, you
time.
use it in conjunction with your minions. So maybe
Okay.
your minion attacks somebody and they've got 1 health left. You pop it off with this. So these are ways I've seen it used. I don't think I actually ever use this in my Paladin decks. But again, it's a basic Soulbound card. So for new players, it's got its uses.
Yeah. The next card, I don't have this. It's 3 casting cost Coghammer. The battle cry is to give a random friendly minion Divine Shield and Taunt, and it's also a 2/3. It seems like a really good card. I don't have it. I probably would use it. I mean, really, a Divine Shield and a Taunt to a random minion.
In addition to a 2/3
In addition
weapon.
to a 2/3 weapon, that is a very good card.
But if you recall, Micmac and I argued about this card when we reviewed it. He said it was absolutely terrible, but I think this is the one he said was terrible. And I don't know. I see that it could have its uses in some decks. I actually have one. I think I just got it this week, and I haven't tried it yet. So, I don't think we want to talk about whether we think they're good or not, just what they do and what their uses would be.
Mm-hmm.
Giving someone Divine Shield and Taunt, especially if it's a big meaty minion, is not a bad thing to do.
No,
that's
it's not.
some nice added protection. The Sword of Justice is the next one, and this
Best
is
card ever.
This is one of those cards that you don't want to ever attack with it. Never attack with it. Why
Right.
would you? So let's first say what it does. It's 3 casting costs. It's an epic. It's a 1/5, 5 durability, that is. And whenever you summon a minion, give it a +1/+1, and this loses 1 durability. So 5 times you can give your minions +1/+1. Now this is Paladin only, so pop out a Silverhand Recruit. You're not getting 1/1s out of that hero power. You're getting 2/2s, and that's basically what it's there for, to just keep pumping your minions. Maybe 1 out of the 5 times you might want to use, to tap somebody out. But this is a well-used, often-used card, and
It's a good card.
it's very good. It's just weird that it's a weapon. It should be like a magic wand instead of a sword.
No, I like it a lot too. So I don't really have much to add to what you said. The weapon card is the True Silver Champion, also the Paladin card. It's a 4 casting cost, 4/2, and whenever your hero attacks, restore 2 health to it. So this is a good card on a couple of levels. It does 4 damage, and you can do 4 damage to a creature that's say it's a 4/4 creature. You're going to take 4 points of damage. It's immediately going to restore 2 to you, and you're going to kill it.
Nice trade.
So yeah, it's a very good trade. So sometimes it might be get your life back. Just go to the face and hit them for 4, and you get 2 health back when you're doing it. Or it could be take their minions out and take less damage for what the minion would be doing to you.
One of the best weapons in the game, and I remember railing about how overpowered this card was once upon a time. I don't know in the current environment if I'd still call it overpowered, but I've heard some people bitching about facing paladins in Arena where they had 3 or 4 of these, and that's not fun. So let's move on to rogues. Rogues have, let's start with the first one, which is new with the last expansion, Cogmaster's Wrench. It's a 3 casting cost, 1/3 weapon, has +2 attack while you have a mech. That's the one Micmac and I were arguing about. It's only useful if you have a mech, and maybe not even then. But it's interesting.
Oh, so it's good for a mech deck.
Right.
Yeah.
So if
again,
you happen
you're going
to
to
be a
balance
rogue,
it.
if you happen to be a rogue that happens to be playing mechs, then sure, you might as well put that in and try it out.
Right. The next card is the Perdition's Blade. And I
A
see
little
this
fact
used a
about
lot.
Perdition's Blade. Why don't you say what it is, and then I have
Okay,
something to
and
say
then you'll
about it.
tell the history of the actual card, the blade. It's a 3 casting cost 2/2 card, 2/2 weapon. The battle cry is to deal 1 damage, and typical with the rogue, if you've already cast something else this turn, instead of dealing 1 damage, the battle cry is deal 2 damage instead, and you can aim where you want that damage to go. So decent enough, 2/2, 3 casting cost, and you get a little flick of damage in on something else that you might not be aiming for, and you choose what you want.
Now, it's interesting that they made this a rare card, because the weapon in World of Warcraft dropped off of Ragnaros, and it was an epic. And what that dagger did, every rogue in Classic WoW wanted this dagger. It had a chance on hit to do 35 fire damage to the person you're hitting, which is brought out by the fact that this weapon does additional damage to a targeted minion when you're using it. So I love the lore connection there. Again, surprising they didn't make it an epic to match the Warcraft thing. But the other thing to keep in mind is there is now a targeting arrow when you cast it. Back in beta, that wasn't the case. How many times did we hurt ourselves trying to equip this weapon and hurting ourselves instead? Did you? I know
I never
I
had
did.
it. I never had
Okay,
it.
I had it, and okay, I was playing weapons by just putting it on my face, like, why did I just take 2 damage? But now it's got an arrow, so you're not going to do that by accident. So this is probably the most used weapon for a rogue in the game. I see this all the time. It's just got so much, as Mick Mech would say if he was here, so much value. 3 casting costs, two attack, and 2 durability, plus that extra battle cry, even without the combo, is pretty awesome.
Yep. Next card is a rogue card. It's the Assassin's Blade. It's a 5 casting cost 3/4. And you may say, wow, that's a lot of mana for a 3/4 weapon. Well, you can use it 4 times. It does 3 damage, and if you are playing a rogue, chances are you're going to be using other cards with it, pumping it. We can get into more of those kind of things later.
Yeah,
But I think it's a
I love
decent
this
card.
I always play this when I'm
Yeah.
playing a rogue.
I mean,
Unless
there's
you're playing
nothing
some
special
kind
about
of...
it except that it's 3/4.
I suppose the Miracle Rogue wouldn't be using it because the game would be over by the time you get to cast it. But for a lot of run-of-the-mill, middle-of-the-road rogue decks, this is a nice card. That lasts a long time. 4 durability, as long as you don't get it destroyed by an acidic swamp ooze
Or
before
a
you
flame
use it all.
flurry. Blade
Or
flurry.
Blade Flurry. Well, that's another reason to have it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Use it 3 times and then use your Blade Flurry.
Yep.
But we're going to get to... you know what? We probably won't even have time to talk about the spells, except in a brief overview. But let's go to the
To
shaman.
the shaman.
There are 2 weapons, and one that's kind of like a weapon. The Rockbiter weapon is not a weapon, but it does emulate one by giving +3 attack for 1 mana.
There are 3 weapons.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there
I
are 3
don't
weapons.
have the Power Mace.
Aha, I do. I have 2 of them. I wish I could give you one, but I can't. All right,
Yes.
but we'll start with the Stormforged axe. I'll do this one. 2 casting cost. It's a 2/3, and it's got an overload of 1, which is not a very heavy overload. I have 2 of these in my deck. It's got good damage. I can use it 3 times, and for 1 overload, can't be beat. Think of it as a minion in your hand. They can't hit it. It can attack 3 times. Usually by the time you get a minion out that does 2 damage, by the time it's attacked 3 times, it's been killed. Okay, so the card's gone. So think of it that way. But 1 overload is not bad for a shaman card.
Nope, not
Did
at
that
all.
make sense?
Yeah, it made sense. But,
Okay.
we were talking about that Paladin card, Coghammer. It costs 3 and is also 2/3 and gives Divine Shield and Taunt. Whereas this one, It says 2, but it's really costing 3, and it's only doing 2/3. So that makes that Paladin card look a little better, doesn't it?
It does. Costing 3 because you're going to be mana tapped a little bit. Mana tapped, huh? There's a Magic the Gathering term.
Magic
Sorry.
Gathering, yep.
Okay.
Now
go
the
ahead.
Power Mace, 3 casting cost, 3/2. It's got a Death Rattle. Give a random friendly mech +2/+2. I don't have this. It's got nice artwork though, and again, only useful in a mech deck. But
Right.
it's kind of neat to have a Death Rattle on a weapon. But there's a better, and we'll get to that. Why don't you talk about your legend, your epic weapon?
That's the better. The better is Doomhammer. 5 casting cost, 2/8. Not only is it 2/8, which means you can use it 8 times, but it's got Wind Fury. So basically, what Wind Fury is you can strike twice. So you can do 4 to the face. You can do 2 to 1 creature and 2 to the face. You can do 2 different minions.
The caveat is the
It's
overload that
beautiful.
goes with the Wind Fury. If you
Caveat,
use
the
it
overload is not a lot. 2 overload is not a lot.
right, but what I want to make it clear to people who are not familiar with this card that you can attack with it once per turn just like any other weapon. It's when you use the Wind Fury to attack a second time that you incur the overload cost of 2 mana.
What?
What do you mean, what?
I've never had that happen.
Yes, you have. You just haven't realized it. The Wind Fury has an overload of 2.
I thought the casting cost was an overload of 2. Ruh-roh, and I'm the shaman player?
Oh
What?
no, wait a second.
Yeah, don't do that to me. No.
No, okay.
No, you are such a goose. You made me
See-
question myself.
See how often I play
Oh, good God.
Shaman?
Yes, no, Wind Fury is free of overload. It's the overload is when you cast the card.
Okay.
You
Okay.
You made me think I was losing my mind.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
geez,
just
I've been playing and I've never noticed, huh? Really?
it's been a long time. I've used this card in the Shaman deck, but that was like a year ago, and for some reason I thought I was overloading that attack. So scratch what I said. Maybe Xander will go back and cut that out.
No, we should leave it there for posterity. Sorry.
So fortunately, I don't embarrass easily.
So
Let's
we'll
get-
move on to the warrior.
Now, too bad Micmac's not here for this, but warriors just have weapons everywhere and tons of spells that affect their weapons, or minions that give them weapons. It's just this is the weapon class. So Fiery War Axe. It's a simple 2 casting cost, 3 attack, 2 durability. Wonderful to use, especially if you want to play a fast-paced warrior. Not much else to say.
You know what sucks?
Most warriors use this. It's a good weapon. What's
The
up?
shaman has a 2 casting cost, 2/3 with an overload. This is a 2 casting cost, 3/2, no overload.
That's because warriors are made to use weapons. Shamans have a lot of spells to use. As
Right.
Micmac said last week, we have some pretty crappy spells in the warrior selection.
Yeah, that's true.
So you need the weapons. You want to talk about the Ogre War Junk?
The Ogre Warmaul. 3 casting cost, 4/2. 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. Yeah, I don't play a warrior, but I would not put this in my deck even if I did, because chances are I would want to go to the face and I'd wind up hitting Ragnaros, not killing him and taking 8 damage.
I mean, it could work out in your favor, like if they have no minions, so you're not going to hit the wrong person. But
Yeah,
my luck, I'd hit Ragnaros and take
too
8.
risky. And you can't silence a weapon.
All right,
You
the
can
death
silence a minion, but you can't silence a weapon.
right, Death Spite, 4 casting cost, 4/2, Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all minions. This is one of the best cards to come out of Curse of Naxxramas. I love this weapon. I use it all the time, and not just for the weapon. 4 damage, that's considerable, but it's special ability. Warriors have all of these minions that get better when they get hurt. And Grommash Hellscream, for example. I will cast this weapon, I will attack to the face or I'll attack a minion, and then on the next turn when I only have one durability remaining, I will put down the Gramash. I will use this weapon to the face or to a minion. It breaks. It has a death rattle. Everybody takes 1 damage. So maybe my trolls get tougher, but Gramash then becomes a 10-4 charging minion and then just
Jeez.
rush across. There's so many ways this is useful with all the different things in the warrior arsenal, even a lot of the neutral cards. Love this weapon. I wouldn't dream of making a warrior deck without this weapon.
Okay.
But
Right,
the other
our-
heavy hitter that we see a lot, look at how big this is. You read it.
The Arcanite Reaper
Yeah,
is a 5 casting cost, 5/2.
plain and simple. A
Yep,
lot of
plain and simple.
damage. And that's a classic WoW weapon too, so
Yeah.
glad they put it in there.
Yep.
Now Gorehowl dropped in Naxxramas, by the way. Also seen all throughout the current WoW expansion. 7 casting costs, 7/1. It only has 1 endurance. Why would you give a weapon only a 1 durability? That's because attacking a minion costs 1 attack instead of 1 durability. This is one of those weapons that you only use on minions unless it's endgame. Let's say your opponent's low on life, you whip this out, bam, smash their skull like Manaroth. Just splat like a watermelon. 7 points of damage. That's pretty awesome. But
So the
if
next
you
turn it goes
get-
to 6, and the next it goes to 5, and the next goes to 4.
only if you're attacking minions. So, I could take out a minion every turn with this, and I don't lose my durability. But the moment I hit my opposing hero, then it's gone.
And then finally it becomes a 1/1 and poof.
Yeah, so in theory, this is a really great weapon, but I almost never see it anymore. It really costs too much. I guess if you're a control warrior and you expect this game to run long, you might use it, but it's one of those cards that you really have to think twice about using and make sure that your deck is the type of deck this would go well in.
Yeah.
Because it is expensive.
Yeah, and I don't play the warrior, so I have the card. Looks interesting. It's just it took a minute of reading it over and over again to realize how it worked.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
it
have
kind of
2
works
of them.
backwards.
And I occasionally put 1 in my deck. I would never put both in my deck. Never.
Yep. So, just also things that to wrap this up, you've got the weapons. Then you have special cards you want to take a look at. And I'm not going to go through all of them. But a 1 casting cost South Sea Deckhand. It's a 2/1 creature. If you've got a weapon in your hand, he has charge because you have the weapon equipped. Great card. Just make sure that when you cast it, you attack with it and you don't destroy your weapon and then cast it. Keep an eye on what you're doing because you can easily say, I've got a weapon in my hand. I cast it. He's going to have charge. I'm going to attack with a weapon. Oh, crap. Now he can't charge.
Yeah,
So,
basically
be
there are
careful with
4
that.
pirates that affect your weapon. So if you're making a pirate rogue deck, make sure you have plenty of weapons because 4 different. You've got the Bloodsail
Actually, no.
Corsair, the South Sea Deckhand, the Bloodsail Raider, and the Dread Corsair, all
And
affecting
Captain
your
Greenskin.
weapon. Oh, Captain Greenskin.
Yep. He's a legendary.
there it
He's
is.
a battle cry. Give your weapon a +1/+1.
5. So
So-
5 pirates. He was on
Yep.
the next page. I didn't see him.
All
So
right.
just, the Spiteful Smith helps you, gives +2 attack when it's enraged to your weapon. What else? Blingtron gives both of you a weapon. I don't have a Blingtron yet. That's fine. I don't know if
Nope.
I'd use it. Just to run real quick through the class cards, you know that the Paladin has Muster for Battle. Summon 3 1/1 Silverhand recruits and equip a 1/4 weapon. So it's like getting a Light's Justice for free. Light's Justice isn't so bad when it's free. Rogue's got
Rogues
several.
are unto themselves.
Dead-
That would
Deadly
take a lot.
Poison, Blade
Yeah, a lot
Flurry.
of decision. Yeah, a lot of discussion
I love
on this
Tinker
one.
Sharpsword Oil. I'm just running down Sharpsword Oil. Sabotage, which I don't have. Destroy a random enemy minion and with a combo and your opponent's weapon. So there's a third way to take out a weapon other than just use. So, and we discussed Rockbiter weapon, and warriors have upgrade and the Arathi weaponsmith that can give you weapons. So, Violet Fire, reconsider using weapons. They're so great.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun. Just again, slow down when you're using them. You've got to really think about what you're doing before you cast them. Things like the Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil. You want to use the combo ability of giving a random friendly minion +3 attack. You have to have a minion on the field to do it. And you also have to have a combo going on to do it. Otherwise, it just basically gives your weapon a +3 attack. Rogues are awesome because you've got your Blade Fury, because if you destroy your weapon, if you've pumped something with that 3 attack and you pumped it further with Deadly Poison of +2, that's 5 right there. You can have a weapon, easily an 8 attack weapon that with Blade Fury does 8
Flurry.
points to everything. Yeah, Blade Flurry. Everything, including your opponent's face.
What
So,
8 weapon?
No. I'm talking about you pumped it.
You pumped it, right?
If you've got Assassin's Blade with a Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil and a Deadly Poison, it's 8 points. Wait,
Yep.
yeah.
Good stuff.
So there's a lot to be done with weapons, and even with the little minions that pump the weapons. Just go slow. Make sure that you're doing things in the right order. There's a reason that there's a wick that burns at the end of your turn. It usually takes a while to get to it. Slow down and read the cards before you cast them, because the weapons can be tricky, especially the combos of the rogues. But oh my god, they're so worth playing because they're so much fun. I hope that helped.
Yeah, it's funny.
Um,
We had discussed all manner of cards and expansions over the year, and for some reason we never went through the weapons. So this was our weapon episode.
Yep, it was. So again, send the emails. We have more time now because we finished the latest content. So send your emails. So we will read them and we will discuss them. If you've got questions, we love doing that.
And
we
Micmac
do
is
not-
running decks again, so send your decks in.
Yep. So and again, we don't have all the answers, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who disagree with what we say, but we do the best we can for a casual podcast. Anything else to add, Autumn's Bane?
No, we're running late.
We are a whole 8 minutes. Oh my god, but we had a lot of dead air because I was choking. You can find us on Twitter at A Worthy Opponent. Twitch TV on Monday nights at what time? 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, same
yeah.
time.
Same time. Holosuite Media. AWO Hearthstone at gmail.com. You can find us on iTunes for a download or send us a review. You can find us on Facebook at AWO Hearthstone. You can find us on Stitcher Satellite Radio. Contact us through Google Plus, A Worthy Opponent. Special thanks to Holosuite Media and the crazy man behind the curtain, Xander, who was with us earlier in the show. Thanks for popping your head in. And yes, thanks to the music provided by Awesome City Limits. And of course, to all you who actually listen to us every week and have fun doing so. Hope you like us and
Next
etc.
week's a holiday, but we'll be here anyway.
We will
I don't-
be here,
I don't know
yes.
if Micmac will be, but we'll be here.
Yes, we will be here. And he will be sunburned, but that's another story. Everybody have a great week. Happy hearthing.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy
Next
Memorial
week.
Day. Next
I
week.
guess we'll say that next week, won't we?
for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of A Worthy Opponent, a production of Holosuite Media. Join us next week at Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to check holosuitemedia.com, iTunes, and Stitcher Satellite Radio for our remastered shows and more. You can follow us on Twitter at Worthy Opponent, or if you have any questions or comments, please send an email to awohearthstone@gmail.com. Welcome to our inn. So freaking tongue-tied.